Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Lubo. This is Ian. We're back with another episode. This time, no guest for us. Not because we didn't have anybody like usual. Uh, it's because we chose not to have a guest. We wanted to discuss the UFC great card. It happened actually not this last Sunday, but the Sunday before. It was UFC 308, was it? Or 7? 307, I think.
310 is the one coming up.
Also, no, it's
Big
not.
one,
Isn't?
I think.
I mean, the computer is here. Jamie could check it, but I gave
The
him the
numbers
day
all
off.
run
I
together.
gave Jamie the day off in celebration of Trump winning. Take the day off, Jamie. You deserve it. You deserve it. Well done. But the whatever the number of the UFC was, it was the Topuria Max Holloway main event, and the co-main event was. Chimaev and Robbie Whitaker.
Robert Whitaker, the Reaper.
Yes. So I actually believe I spoke to you about it that same day. How weird it was. We didn't watch it together, but we texted during the thing. We were actually watching it live, just not together. And how weird it is that at their age as veterans, both Robert Whitaker and Max Holloway have a record of very similar record of 20. I think Max is 27 and 7, and Whitaker is 25 and 7 or 25 and 8 or something like this. That's before their last fights. But point here is that Max Holloway was number 2 contender, and Robbie Whitaker was number 3 contender in some of the most some of the hardest divisions, right?
Like the deepest divisions.
The deepest divisions, like the most talented divisions, because you could be number 1 in the heavyweights, and sometimes the pool of talent is just not there in the heavyweights.
And usually
it is and it isn't, right?
They're older and can kind of, power's the last thing to go.
Right,
they say.
right. And the other thing about the heavier, I mean, you could say that with all of them, but especially the heavyweights, because there's
wrestling.
such a big wrestling too, yeah, because there's such a big, but wrestling
like the Cuban
wrestling, a little difference there. I'll
Bruce
if
Baumgartner?
I may, yeah, Bruce Baumgartner, yeah. If I may, we're talking about a sport where striking is involved. And it's an anything can happen thing, because there's also grappling involved, there's takedowns, there's striking, there's kicks. In boxing and wrestling, I know boxing striking is involved, obviously, but it's only the hands that are involved.
Right.
And there's a limited thing to what you can do in boxing, right? That's why there's a big knock on boxing when it comes to actual fighting. But even a simple clinch in boxing, like the simplest clinch that's never going to fly in MMA, in terms of realistic expectations of what the outcome would be for you. You clinch over the arms like this, and you get separated after a couple of seconds by the ref, really depending on the ref. But in wrestling, the other thing is there is no strikes. So the heavyweights, they might also fluctuate big in difference in weight. Like
Right.
you could be a 220 pounder versus 260 pounder. And that's a big difference. That's 40
Huge,
pounds right
that's
there.
crazy.
Huge, yeah, crazy. But you could also be a lot more skilled. So the skill there is, there is very little margin for accidental error. By accidental error, I mean you just catch a stray and
Like
you're done.
a fluke.
Yeah, a fluke. Yeah, like
Sure,
in
sure.
MMA.
I don't like to use that word.
I
'cause
don't
really
either. I
believe
don't
in it,
either because
but you know what I mean when I say it.
It's a knock on people that actually knock other people down.
Sure, and I don't want to do that.
No, but it's a fact.
But it's a fact.
But it's a fact, because you could be John Jones in your prime, and you get hit. You get caught. Rather, I should say caught.
Right.
You get caught once on the chin nicely, although it hadn't happened, but it could have. You get caught on the chin nicely, and then you start falling down. The ref is not going to intervene because it's MMA, and you're going to get obliterated, and then it ends up, it results in a loss, right?
Right.
And there is so many more ways to lose in MMA than there is in wrestling. Now,
100%.
how does that relate to heavyweights? It relates because you could get touched by heavyweight and just crumble, right? Whereas those other weights that we're talking about, the lightweights, the lighter weights, I should say, like Max Holloway and Topuria were fighting in 55.
It's so much more
or 45.
dynamic.
Was it 45 or 55? 145. 155.
55, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yes. So it's a
'Cause
lot
he just
more.
moved- he moved up.
Yeah, it's a lot more dynamic, and you could.
Well, wait, Holloway, I think after that loss, I think that was at 45.
Jamie?
Because I think I just saw an interview where he's moving up. And he's like saying, I'm leaving
Right.
that last weight behind. He's not going back to 45, which
He cuts a lot of weight for that. He walks around in 180 or
he
something.
looked substantially,
Yeah.
he was definitely way taller. He looked bigger than Topuria. And
Yeah,
I think it was
he's like,
mainly
he's like
the height.
he's about I think he was 10 centimeters taller. Saying
But
that because
it didn't look,
like
Topuria
4 inches
was not,
4 inches taller. But Topuria,
Topuria did not look like that was bothering him at all.
No.
As soon as the fight started, I started getting scared.
And that's where the skill level, you could tell
He's
the
so
difference.
good.
The difference in the skill level, man.
Because like we talked about,
Yeah.
Max Holloway is a good boxer, but he's a brawling boxer.
Yeah.
Whereas Topuria is a boxer. Like he's a sweet scientist. And there's a difference.
Yep. It's if you watch McGregor fight pretty much anyone in his fights, standing fights. I'm not talking about Khabib when he went to the ground or anything, or even Nate Diaz going to the ground.
Who did he get the interim title from? Mendez.
Yeah.
He.
McGregor's boxing is, I mean, I don't want to say underrated because it's not. He's regarded as, there's just so much there's so much hate on McGregor that people overlook.
I don't know what I don't know what he can do.
Well, I don't know now. I mean, Muhammad Ali was. I mean, he's dead now. But
look at his fight
George
against
Foreman was. I don't know what he's now. I mean, I'm just saying, But we're talking about prime McGregor, obviously, and we're talking about prime Mayweather, and we're talking about prime, when he was fighting, when he was killing people. So we're looking at his skill level was like so much higher than his opponents in terms of striking, specifically hands, and a lot of that had to do with his distance management.
Do you think would you call that his boxing though? Or do you think it was his striking? Because
his striking, because he had a lot of legs. I was just thinking about that.
A boxer.
Topuria,
he's an MMA boxer, whereas McGregor was a good striker, but it wasn't. It was more like karate type, movement.
Topuria is a very good boxer. He fights off his back leg though. He's leaning back, and which gives him very good. So when you lean forward, you can do this at home, but when you're standing in a stagger stance, like whatever, left foot forward or right foot, and you lean heavy on your front foot, okay, which is the case most people fight. What happens is it's hard to check kicks. It's hard to move your leg back, even to evade kicks.
You're gonna be a beat behind.
So that's why Muay Thai fighters fight off their back foot so they can check and stuff like this, right? So you can do that experiment at home. You can lean on your front foot and try to fight. And what it does is it actually leaves you with a better. You can actually manage the distance a little better because you can always shift your weight back. And if you know that you're at an arm distance away, and you can touch your opponent's head, he can probably do the same to you. So you can go in and then go back. And that's the illusion of actually GSP, Georges St. Pierre, has a video on that specifically on YouTube. I think he was talking with, what's the name of the British guy? He's got a very famous channel. I want to give him some props right here. You guys should check this out. Shit, I gotta remember.
He's a boxer?
No. The channel is about, I think the guy is a Muay Thai fighter, but the channel is about, it's called, anyway, I'll remember. Collective Warrior? No, Collective.
I don't know.
I'll find it. Anyway, what he explains there is that you can fight off your front foot and lean forward above your knee, above your foot. And that gives the impression that you're very close to your opponent. So when they hit or when they strike, right? All you actually have to do is shift your weight back to the rear foot, and you're actually moving your head by probably this much, right? So it's about a foot. So very much enough to pull back and then strike back, which is what GSP did, but also McGregor, right? McGregor was super good at this thing.
McGregor being a counter striker.
Counter striker, yeah. So he was really good at this. Mayweather used to do that too. You watch Floyd Mayweather's fights, he would really lean forward as if, I mean, it looked like he was cheeky and all that, like he's baiting you to hit him and all that, but it's a calculated risk because he's not falling forward further forward from his knees, from his lead knee. He was above his lead knee, but because he's leaning and putting all his weight on the front leg, it looks like he's so close. And people get excited, and they, especially if you start striking like this, all he has to do is pull back and they hit you, which is what he did. It's exactly what
Davis
McGregor used
is
to
like
do.
a counter fighter a little bit.
Who? Jerron Davis, yeah,
Tank Davis.
yeah. They McGregor actually was that was a big thing about him. That strong rear hand, the left hand. He would do that and pull back and then send it fly. So Topuria fights off his back leg though. He fights on the back leg, which if you're an MMA fighter and you fight on the front leg, heavy front leg, you are actually more capable of defending takedowns also because you are closer to a sprawl, closer to a down block. I mean, not that you're gonna down block so much in MMA, but if they shoot to your legs, you are gonna down block, right? So leaning forward makes it easier for you to down block and to sprawl.
But you're in trouble with the checking.
Well, you're in trouble with checking. Your mobility is a little more limited,
and
right?
Max is a kicker. Max will kick.
Right, Max will kick. So that was good. That's what Topuria did is great against strikers.
Right.
Now we're wondering about Makhachev, for example. Should he fight Makhachev? Now, I'm not saying that Topuria has a great wrestling and great jiu-jitsu.
Is his wrestling great or is his jiu-jitsu good?
Well, he has good takedowns. I know that Topuria has good takedowns. How his defensive wrestling is in MMA context, I don't know. Because we haven't seen...
I would venture to say...
I personally don't remember seeing... I've seen his fights in the UFC, all of them, and I don't remember seeing him...
he was in trouble one time, I think.
I don't remember when. He may have been, but it wasn't like something, to be worried about that much. I know that he has one loss, but that was before the UFC, I think.
Okay.
And it was...
To me, he came out of nowhere. I don't remember any of his fights when no one knew him. Yeah. Like when he beat up Bryce Mitchell.
His bro is also fighting.
Alexander.
We'll
see what he's like.
Did he sign up with the UFC now?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's fighting. I actually learned about his brother from... I watched something on YouTube from Spanish TV from Spain. And he was on a late night talk show or something like this. And
was he any good? Or have you heard anything about his?
Oh, there were. I mean, I guess yeah. But
he was on a regional. He was on a regional show before.
He and his brother were very nice, very nice people. The way they were talking, and all that stuff, very nice, very humble. Topuria was being super polite about everything. Yeah, really, really likable guy.
He's not quite like that anymore. He's not a prick. He's overly not overly confident. I don't want to judge him like that. He's a champion. But he rubs me a little bit the wrong way. It just seemed like once he became prominent and good, once he got the title, he's like, "Oh, I'll fight you."
I think
that
Topuria was just as good from the beginning. I mean, obviously he improves in every training camp.
He
as
was
time
good
goes, you
from
you
the
add
jump,
things
from what
and all
I hear.
That. But he was good when he got to the UFC. It's just that you got to climb the ladder to get to the championship. To the belt rounds, and he climbed it and he proved himself in a relatively short time, and he did it. I mean, remember Easy? He came out of nowhere. Now we all forgot about that, but Adesanya, Israel Adesanya, he came out of nowhere. I mean, not nowhere because he had a history kickboxing, just like
he kind of came out of nowhere. But I do remember before he got into the UFC. there was a little bit of a buzz around him because he kind of had attributes similar to John Jones. And I remember seeing a video about him, and I was like, damn, this dude, he looks pretty good. And then I saw a couple of his kickboxing fights and stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, he came out of nowhere on the MMA scene, and he took over the UFC. He became a champion within a year or something. I can't remember.
He did it very
fast. That's what I meant.
Not as
he
fast
didn't come out of
Peloton,
nowhere. He didn't
yeah.
just start fighting and said, "Okay, like it's not UFC 1 we're
He
talking
was
about
good.
here."
He was championship level. He was good
Right.
when he first came in.
Right. So he
for sure.
he took the UFC over by storm.
As did say
whatever.
Poatan. Not many people do that.
No, not many people. And Alex Pereira did the same thing.
Alex Pereira did the same thing.
The thing is that no one has.
I can't think of a
exposed-
lot of people that were like that.
No, you can't. But that's what I'm saying. Topuria came in like that. He had like 5-6 fights and he fought for a championship or however many he did. It wasn't
Because
that many.
he was kind of dominating people.
Dominating. Yes.
And it was such a surprise. Like I did see a little bit of the Bryce Mitchell fight, and it was
Yeah.
like no one knew who Topuria was.
Yeah.
I didn't for sure, and it's like he surprised Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell, he's the country guy with the farm. Okay.
Yeah. No, I remember. I saw the fight. He surprised him definitely. But what I'm saying here is that
And
Topuria.
who's the bald guy? That I think was a wrestler.
Yeah.
That was the same thing happened. He beat the shit out of that dude. I was like, oh.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. The thing is, I don't know how good he will be against.
I don't know how good anyone's going to be against Islam Makhachev, dude. Islam Makhachev is like the second coming of Khabib.
We were talking about. I think it's better than Khabib in the terms of
100%.
MMA.
100% because he's a better stand-up. He's at least
striker.
He's equal-ish on the ground, and he's a better striker.
Yeah. We can't tell whether he's equal or not on the ground. It's hard to tell.
Good enough because Khabib was
it's
so
comparable
good.
because the styles
it's
are the same.
comparable.
But Khabib was.
And he doesn't need to use it as much because he can stand up.
Yeah, Khabib
comfortably.
That's the thing.
Khabib had to get him
It's
down.
hard to compare because Khabib would take people down and do his work and be done with it, whereas Makhachev would like to stand in exchange, you know.
And Makhachev doesn't have to take people down, but when Makhachev wants to take people down, he takes people down.
Look out for Khabib's cousin, man. He's coming in and he's gonna take it all.
Not Umar, but Usman.
He's gonna take all. He's really good.
He's really good.
Yeah. So I was saying fighting on the back foot, in MMA like that, could lead to trouble from wrestlers, you know. But I'm sure he knows it. I'm sure he knows it. I'm sure. I don't know.
He seems sharp. Like his MMA IQ or his fight IQ,
it's
it's
amazing.
top notch.
It's amazing. You can tell like Max Holloway is, like you said, he's a brawler. He's throwing hands, but as soon as he put those hands down. And I know that he's taller and all that, but that didn't bother Topuria.
Not a bit. Topuria
He went in. He took,
was always on the hunt.
Oh yeah.
And to me, Max just was always.
Did you see the beginning of the fight when Topuria stepped in the middle and
Yep.
said,
Just like he said he was going to do.
Just like he said he was going to do.
Max was like.
Did you see what Max did?
Like the Matador.
The Matador thing?
Which was cool.
By the way,
That was cool.
I did not understand that when I watched it live because I watched the fight twice. I didn't understand what he did. I thought he said, no, let's fight here. But then when I saw it the second time, I'm like, oh shit.
Same thing with me.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I saw that it was the Bull Matador thing.
Oh yeah,
on
after?
a video after.
Yeah. I didn't notice it, but it was pretty good though.
I was not shocked because he said he was going to do it, but I was kind of like, oh, when he was like, let's do it right here. I was like, oh, don't get sucked into that, Max.
Yeah,
But that wouldn't have been smart. That would not have been smart for Max. I get it.
To be honest with you, if Max had done that
would have been a better chance of him winning.
He would have had a better chance to beat him than not,
Yeah.
because that would have been Max's style brawling and stuff like this.
Yeah.
The stupidest thing he could have done against Gaethje, but he did it and it worked out for him. But imagine if it worked out the other way. Imagine if Gaethje was the one who connected.
Yeah.
And everybody would have been like, Max, how fucking dumb are you?
Gaethje was so compromised at that point. Max did offer a risk up for some glory.
Well, it did net him 500,000, I think,
A bunch.
as a bonus. No,
Yes.
no, as a bonus.
Yes.
5 or 600.
It was-
because
well, okay.
that was UFC 300.
So it was a $300,000.
300,000 was the bonus.
Right.
Dana White made it 300,000.
And they probably got
They got double. They
fight
got
of the
double
night
for that.
and
yeah.
performance or whatever.
Yeah. So that made both of them
Yeah.
extra money.
Yeah. Max Holloway is a legend forever.
Yeah.
Before that just
It was.
he will never hold a title again, probably. But in my eyes, he doesn't need to. I mean, that BMF title is
Yeah, I mean,
it's whatever. It's a.
he didn't. I don't know. I just think that.
I just don't see what title he's going to win. What title? He's not going to go to 45.
He still holds the BMF.
That's not a real title.
No, he got pissed at Topuria for putting a fake BMF belt around his waist.
Well, he
got
had it.
upset. He's like, bro, come on, get the fuck out of here.
I
He
saw
got
an
upset.
interview with both of them
Yeah.
being interviewed, and he was like, he brought Topuria had the belt on him during the interview. It's pretty funny.
He got mad.
I was kind of mad too. I was like, dude,
like,
what is he doing? But I get the
Come on.
gamesmanship. I get it, and it worked.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, yeah. Now the other fight that we should probably talk about too was the one before. We actually started from the top to the
Right.
top going down, but the one before was fucking Chimaev against
Quick as
Whitaker.
can be, but just so convincingly domination. Oh man, I thought it was gonna look. I'm like everybody else. I was pretty sure Hamzat was gonna win. I would have been stoked if Robert would have won, but I knew he wasn't. But I for sure thought it was gonna go way longer than what it did. I'm sure everybody did.
Let me open the card over here.
And I can't even imagine what it feels like. Even though Robert said this didn't happen, but to get your mandible, to get your jaw dislocated just from pressure,
I know.
for that to happen. And I knew it was something serious as soon as Hamzat started to squeeze the tap. Look, I've tapped thousands of times in my life, okay?
Really?
That tap was a tap of panic and pain. It happened
was.
so fast.
Remember you texted me and I was like,
I was like, something's
oh, man.
broken for sure.
I was like, nah, he's gassed.
Dude.
Because, you got all that wrestling. But it was
just
but then
in a
I thought
couple
about it. I'm like,
seconds.
that's so early in the match. You can't be gassed. And then I saw it on replay. Because like I said, I watched it in Spanish. But you watched it in English, right?
Yeah.
I was watching it in a Spanish broadcast. And they didn't say anything about it. You told me that in the English broadcast, they mentioned something about the jaw. But they didn't mention that
didn't
until
know.
later.
Well, live, they were talking about it, but it was speculation, obviously, because they didn't know.
Right.
And I was with them. I was like, dude, that is probably some kind of break. I mean, I can't see. He definitely wasn't being choked, and it was put on too fast. You have time in there usually. I've tapped from mandible chokes, but there's more time. That happened so fast.
Yeah.
I was like, something bad happened.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Broken jaw, probably. But, and like I said, Robert Whitaker.
And he looked fine after that. When he got up, he was next to the ref and he was like looking around.
He was just standing, but I'm sure there was pain. When he was standing up, to me, it looked like something just bad
They
happened.
didn't let him drink water. He probably needed a straw.
He swallowed his teeth.
Yeah. But, I mean, look at that. Round 1, 3:34 of round 1, 3 minutes 34 seconds, face crank, they call it.
Yeah.
By the way, Max Holloway got knocked out in 1:34 of the third round.
Right.
So he went two
He
rounds.
went a little.
Yeah, he did.
But he didn't
It's
look
respectable, but he didn't look like he could win this fight.
It looked like something bad was going to happen from the beginning.
Yeah, he didn't look like he could win this fight, but
Right.
but with Max Holloway, the thing about Max Holloway is that knockout power is not there compared to Topuria.
Right.
Right? So you wouldn't be, if you're Topuria, you're not that worried about it,
Nope.
but you don't want to get caught by a stray, right? Like, that Max Holloway's are strays, so he's throwing them, and when I say no knockout power, we just mentioned Justin Gaethje got put to
Right.
sleep, but that was like,
That doesn't
like
happen
I
a
said,
lot.
that could have landed the other way just as easily,
100%.
because they were both swinging, and
100%.
there was, Yeah. So, that's what I referred to when I said that was just stupid of Max Holloway to do, but it worked out for him. It made him the extra.
It was a risk, and
it paid off.
people will remember that forever.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
People will remember that before they remember any of his stats. That was shocking and dramatic, and it made people feel alive. It did me. I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Do you remember we spoke about? Do you remember we spoke? Let me just backpedal here for a second. What do you think about Chimaev? Do you think he's getting a title shot?
Next? Yes. I really do.
Fight?
Yes. And I'll tell you really quickly why. Sean Strickland will keep saying, I'm getting the title shot, I'm next. Dana White already said it, which Dana White did say that. He's right. But that doesn't mean anything. Everybody, the audience, we want to see Chimaev.
Dana White is a businessman.
Dricus Du Plessis was like, I would have fought Sean again, but you know what? I've already beaten him once. Everyone wants to see me fight Khamzat.
The whole thing. That's the whole thing, you know.
And that is very cool of him to say because Khamzat is a way more dangerous opponent than Sean Strickland is. And for him to go into the fire is... And I wasn't a big DDP fan, but I'm like, I respect that.
The thing about DDP is he's a brawler.
He is.
You know, I've met so many people like that in South Africa, man. Like,
He's
granted,
tough.
I worked in bars, so you probably have met them here too.
He's tough.
Like, but those guys, the Afrikaans people, you know, they got a weird past, you know.
That they do.
That they do. But with that being said, although in the case of Du Plessis, you know, people are like talking about, you know, racism and stuff. The guy was born after the apartheid fell. He's a whole generation removed from the apartheid, and he may or may not. And what I'm saying is, I'm talking out of my ass here. He may or may not have grown up in a family with parents who are or were racist. You know, because that's how people were.
I don't even want to speculate on the odds.
I don't want to speculate on it, but I'm saying that he may or may not, which is speculation essentially. But there is no reason for it to be
sure.
to be talked about. But I'm
Right.
saying because I was saying they have a weird past. But this guy, I'm not saying that he's any of that.
Right.
What I am saying
That's
though,
not what I
is
think
that-
about when I think
yeah,
about him.
Yeah.
Izzy brought all that up.
What I am saying that these guys are the Afrikaans people. They are rough. They're like, when you look at a redneck here and you're thinking, that guy could just easily fucking squeeze me and fuck me up, you know? Like, just like that. They're rough. They're a rough mentality. Like, they're tough. They're rough. And they don't give a shit.
Has been...
Their lifestyle is a little bit, so
they're not playing.
They're not playing around. Yeah. I've seen things that are just like I've seen things that made me think this guy's fucking crazy. I really don't want to even talk to this guy.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know what kind of trouble I'm gonna get into just having a beer with this guy.
Right.
And the guy's on my side because we're having a beer. And I'm like, I don't want to be near this guy because I don't know what's gonna happen.
I've had friends like that.
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from.
But so Du Plessis is like that. He's someone that's looking for the fight. If Du Plessis loses,
I respect that.
You think about this.
Because most people aren't like that. Most people that get a title, and they're just like, I want to go to the easiest fight or fight me in 6 months.
Yeah, but think about how he's also smart because think about.
He pissed Dana White off first. He pissed Dana White off in the beginning with not wanting to fight Izzy. So I think now, especially since he's a champion and he's super tough, that he's.
I think as a champion, he can pick who he wants to fight.
Especially when it's the toughest, craziest, scariest guy.
Yeah.
You know, I respect it. Sean Strickland, I used to be a fan. Now I'm a little bit less, but he's tough for sure. But everyone would rather see Khamzat fight Dricus than Sean Strickland because we've already seen that and he already lost. Sean Strickland's style is just.
Yeah, I would much rather see Du Plessis fight.
Yeah, it's a
fight than Sean Strickland.
It's a way cooler fight.
Even if it's, I would rather see Du Plessis fight Chimaev than Sean Strickland fight Chimaev for that
Me
matter.
too.
Because
'Cause
we all know what's gonna happen.
It's gonna be worse than Robert Whitaker.
There is gonna be no Philly shell.
Dude,
You know, people
no,
are gonna.
no teeps.
Floyd Mayweather is gonna say fuck Philly shell.
That is going to be a slaughter.
Oh my
Sean Strickland
God.
might need that to calm his
I mean,
ass
I've seen
down.
him wrestling. I've seen him wrestling in practice.
I've seen him with a singlet on.
But,
He
yeah,
says he has a
yeah.
black belt. I'm sure he's not lying,
No,
but
he probably does. But
show me. I'm from the Show Me State.
there
Show
is-
me.
dude.
That
we've-
would be a match. And you do something with Chimaev, okay, then I will take all of this back. I would be super impressed. But until I see it, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I think that Chimaev is just way too good to put against Sean Strickland right now.
I mean, he's like
He's-
Khabib level,
Yeah.
pretty much.
He should be a championship contender right now, and
But he has some problems.
he does.
He can't fight in America.
Well, they fight in Abu Dhabi, you know. It's not a problem. Duplessis, who's to say they can't do a card in South Africa? He's already defended the title.
They'll work around it.
Yeah.
Because
Or somewhere in Africa, they've always wanted to do that.
that's just a strange thing though. They'll work around it, I'm sure, but it's just strange. Like, oh yeah, he's a UFC champion, but he can't fight in America. Now, and I'm sure that
You mean if he wins the title?
yeah, that'd be weird.
Yeah, it is. It is, but I mean,
Stop being friends with freaking
well,
that Chechnyan.
let's not forget that he had to run away from Russia and become a UAE citizen. And
Well, he was in Sweden too, right?
he grew up in Sweden because he's from Chechnya. His family is from there. He was born there. He had spent some time as a kid there, but then they immigrated to Sweden.
Kadyrov was the dude's name.
The Chechen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ramzan.
You know, it's funny because Chechnya has had problems with Russia. I don't know if you remember. I don't know who's gonna watch this and who remembers that, but around 2002, I think it was 2002. Yeah.
They said Chechnya was the bombings,
the theater, the Moscow theater.
and they went over to Chechnya and jammed them up.
Yeah, because they had about I don't know how many Chechens.
I thought it was like twice. There was like 2 events that.
There were, but the biggest one was in Moscow.
But were they true? Because when I heard them, it was almost like they blamed it on the
No,
Chechens.
they were no, because they killed them. The Russians. So the thing was that. Let me find this because this is an interesting case.
I've heard a little bit about
This is
it.
an interesting case of.
This is pre-Putin, or this is just when Putin was about to, like when Putin was taking over, right?
Putin has already.
Or
had
he
already
had
taken over.
just taken over.
Putin actually left the presidency to Medvedev.
Okay.
So that he can come back after that. But,
Okay.
But let me just look this up real quick because this is a very interesting piece of
Modern history.
Yeah. Look, Moscow theater hostage crisis. The first thing I put
Yeah.
Moscow theater. It could have
Yeah.
been Bolshoi theater, but it's not. It's the
Yeah.
crisis, right? So
Didn't they just get blown up? Didn't a terrorist happen at a theater there?
I don't know.
Like within the past year?
All right, look at this. So
Oh, it was a dude from Khabib's school. There was a guy from Khabib's school that was a part of. It was some kind of theater type thing, full of people. They ran in there and were scaring people. People got shot up. They caught all the guys and hurt them. But I think there was a dude from Khabib's school that was alleged to be a part of all that.
oh really? As long as he wears a beard, right? Like without the mustache. Look, all right, there it is. October 23rd, hold on. Yeah, October 23rd, 2002. So we're talking about like 22 years ago. 40 Chechen militants led by whatever took more than 900 hostages at a theater in Moscow. So there is a play in a theater. It's not a movie theater. It was a play, as far as I remember. And there were 900 people in the theater. And this mass hostage taking was also the third in Russian history. The first took place in 95, the second in 96, and the third in Beslan 2004. The third must be the fourth then. Okay, so They took 900 hostages for 3 days.
That's crazy.
This is the crazy part. Listen to this. 3 days later, fearing for the hostages' lives, Russians fearing for the hostages' lives, right? Russian special forces assaulted the building. But the number of hostages that died remains unclear. They died in the fucking shootout. Because I remember what happened was
That's so tragic.
So they were fearing for the hostages' lives.
So they ran up in there.
So on day 3, they said enough negotiations, whatever they did. They stormed the building with 90 militants inside and or 40 militants and 900
What did they
hostages.
think was going to happen?
Exactly. To this day, they haven't released the number of hostage.
It was probably 900.
I know, it was huge.
So insane.
Even the number of hostages who died remains unclear. The Russian authorities insist the final toll was 130, but the NGO, which is whatever, says the figure is closer to 174. But who the fuck knows? Here's the thing. I mean, it's hard
There's
to kill.
people that know the people that were in there.
You're saying there's 900, yeah, but it's hard to kill 900 people. You know, even in a shootout, it's hard to kill 9 because if you're a terrorist, you're thinking about shooting a hostage or thinking about the guy that's shooting at you. You're probably gonna be. So those people may have got caught in the crossfire. You know. So, but talk about 174. Talk about 200 hostages dying.
It's just weird that they wouldn't put out a number. Even if it was like a small number.
Right. So that's the thing. You know, Chechnya has always had that problem, and that's because they've always wanted to be separate. They don't want to be autonomous. It's an autonomous republic, I think, or something like this, just like Dagestan. You don't think Dagestan wants the same thing? These guys, I mean, we're in America. We can say whatever the fuck we want, right? Especially now that, you know. Yeah, we probably shouldn't say whatever we want. To those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, or maybe watching this years later, yesterday were the elections in the U.S.
There's no riots in the streets.
And there is no riots in the streets, which means
so that should tell you.
Which means Donald Trump won. He still claims there is fraud in the elections, you know, on habit, but he won nevertheless.
But who cares?
Who cares? He won. So, but you don't think that Dagestan, you know, you don't think they want to be an independent country? They look at fucking Tajikistan and whatnot, and like those former Soviet republics. Kazakhstan is a independent republic right now.
Yeah, but aren't some of them are doing okay, and some of them are like not.
Who is doing okay? It's Dagestan, Chechnya.
Not Dagestan. Like I always thought those were like poor places.
They are poor places.
Other than Khabib's house.
Well, I mean,
he's a multi-millionaire.
Khabib is not even allowed in there
even
now.
Though, right? They took his cars. They took a bunch of stuff.
Putin bought him a house, and now he took it away because of taxes or something. Who knows what he said somewhere? Khabib probably opened his mouth somewhere, and taxes were not paid. Since when do they care about Khabib's taxes?
Is Khabib's MMA promotion still up?
No, that's the thing. Eagle FC, Eagle Fighting Championship. Didn't we talk about that, or we just looked it up once? They had given up
I think
a year ago or something.
Up.
Yeah.
My memory's getting crazy. I just had a birthday, so I'm gonna blame it on that.
Oh yeah, Ian! Happy birthday, my friend.
Thanks.
But that was last Friday, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, he turned 40.
Level 49.
49. He's almost there. The big 5-0. The big 5-0. What is this? I put Eagle FC and it comes out as Central Pennsylvania's premier soccer club.
He might have moved.
Eagle FC MMA. Okay, that's a different story. Established in 2020. But
how much money did you see he put into that?
He bought Guerrilla. Okay, it was renamed to Eagle
after
Nurmagomedov bought Guerrilla Fighting Championship for $1 million.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, if it makes money.
It probably never made money though.
Well, they've been in the industry since 2017. It was on the edge of bankruptcy.
Yeah,
when
but
he
I mean,
retired,
no one knew who those fighters were. I watched a couple of them.
When Khabib retired, he acquired the promotion and became the promoter. But then what happened was apparently he he couldn't afford to pay anymore, and they went bankrupt also. Look at that, notable athletes and alumni. Diego Sanchez.
Yeah, Diego Sanchez against Kevin Lee.
Kevin Lee.
It was a horrible match.
Kevin Lee. Renan Barão. Rashard Evans. Antonio
I did
Silva.
see Rashad.
Junior Dos Santos. Ray Borg. Remember Ray Borg?
I do. That was
the famous armbar. That's what we remember Ray Borg for. The highlight reel.
Demetrius. Look,
No,
that move.
the highlight reel he became.
That move was so cool. It's almost like Ray Borg is probably like be honored to be a part of that.
By the way, Umar and Usman Nurmagomedov also. So Umar Nurmagomedov is
You think Umar?
current UFC.
Yeah. What do you
And
think about Umar and
Usman.
Merab?
Oh no, Usman Nurmagomedov is also cousin.
Yeah, but what do you think, real quick? Umar
I'm sorry.
versus Merab.
What do I think about that?
Yeah.
Umar versus Merab.
I think Umar.
Are they the same weight class?
Yes, they got it going on right now. Umar, there's a whole thing in the
Yeah,
media
he's-
going on
he's
right now.
Small, yeah.
Merab is like, I'll fight you in March. Umar's like, that's Ramadan.
Oh,
I want to fight you in February.
Oh,
You
wait a
can't-
minute. It's oh no, Merab is not. Merab is not Muslim, is he? He's Georgian, but he's also is Merab Muslim?
He's
or
definitely not Muslim. I say he's definitely not Muslim. He's not worried about Ramadan. He ain't worried about Ramadan. And I like Merab, but I will tell you, it does kind of feel like he's not trying to fight Umar first. He's like trying to fight all these other people.
Well, yeah. I mean, but
And I get it. He doesn't want to. He wants to be a champion for a second. He would like to defend the title. But that's why what I was saying about Dricus. Even Dricus going against Khamzat. I love going against the craziest guy. Bilal was talking about going
Yeah.
against.
Bilal is gonna retire or something. I heard no.
No.
Or no?
No, something happened with his toe.
Oh man, I don't know what happened, but
No,
I did
he's
think that he was.
he was.
gonna
What's
retire.
Shavkat? He's supposed to fight. The dude is 17-0 with 17.
Yeah.
That dude is kind of scary.
Hold on, let's see this.
Oh, too that shot that Shara Magomedov, one eye, share a bullet. Did you see that fight?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna go down the fights too.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Yeah, let's see here, because I wanted
Because
to,
that was amazing.
I wanted to ask you about something else before we get to that one. Do you remember we talked about how judges. We didn't talk about. We were wondering, do judges see
the CompuStat?
the CompuStat, the CompuStat, the actual computer generated stats of how many efficient strikes and all that stuff?
I would imagine yes, but you would thought no.
Well, I thought no, because that's the whole thing. We see it, they don't. It's open scoring as far as we know. How they score. No, it's not open scoring, but I'm saying they keep tab on how they score the rounds round by round, but I think they don't have access to those, because that's the whole point in having. Otherwise,
See, my thing is do they get trained to look at a fight? Because I'm sure it's not. I don't know a whole lot about striking, so I'm wondering how tough it would be to watch a fight and to sit there and be like, okay, a significant strike for that guy, because that goes into they need to know those numbers.
Well, yes, correct. So that brings me the reason I'm asking. Ankalaev versus
Rakic.
Rakic. Ankalaev defeats Rakic, unanimous decision, 29-28, 29-28, 29-28, which means he took 2 rounds to 1. Okay? I personally think it was 3 rounds to none.
That's what I think, and I
Right.
think everyone thinks that too.
But let me tell you something else. So I was wondering where they gave Rakic a round. But apparently,
The judging is suspect.
judging is, well, it's suspect, but all 3 of them gave him a round, which means that, and they all gave him the same round, which means that probably us, being everyone else, don't
Okay.
quite understand the judging.
Okay,
It's
and
a possibility.
I will say this too, and I heard this first from Joe Rogan, and I was like, that's right. When you're watching a fight for entertainment purposes, you're watching something different than a person that's watching a fight grading it.
Right.
So I get that. Now, most people, and a lot of times in most fights, the judges will see
There's
this
also a
similar
little
thing.
bias on our part.
Sure.
You know, there is a little bias also.
And I think there might be bias on judges' parts too.
Because listen, if we're watching a fight and one fight, let's say we care nothing about either fighter, and in terms of who's gonna win, and the one fighter lights up the other in the first round, maybe took him down a few times, hit him a few times, really wins the round convincingly 10-9, okay? And then the other fighter does a little better in round 2. Quite often, they give that round to, and that's what happened with Rakic. They give that round to the second fighter just because he showed. He went from.
I get it.
He was down by 100% in the first round, but he went up by 50% barely.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, you did way better than you did the first
They
round.
kind of grave it on a curve.
Yeah. So now it turns out to be like a win for that guy in the round. But here's
I would need to watch the fight over again because I hear a lot of dudes saying when they watch a fight a second time with that additional knowledge that the judges were drastically different, they will see a different fight. Now, sometimes it's not exactly what the judges see, but sometimes it is. I've heard Joe Rogan say, I watched the fight again, and I understand why it was that way.
Yeah. I also was about to tell you that I saw the stats on...
For the Rakic?
Yeah. And the computer says that Rakic had, in all 3 rounds, landed more efficient strikes. And if that's the case, he should clearly be the winner. In all 3 rounds...
Well, there's other criteria.
There's other criteria, but that's number one criteria.
And there's other criteria that is, I mean, I guess it's subjective.
He didn't even get taken down in the. He got lit up with Ankalaev's left hand. That was the big problem. Ankalaev's left hand was landing at will, and it was rattling him every time. But he didn't get really taken. He got taken down once, maybe, or something, and there was no repercussions. He didn't get punished on the takedown, you know, like in
That's
other
still
words,
a score, though.
It's a score, yes, it's a score. But we've seen, you know, Robert Whittaker take Adesanya 17 times down, and Adesanya got up every time, and they gave the fight to Adesanya. We've seen that too.
You also need to beat the champion.
Yeah, correct.
But that's crazy.
Yeah, but he outstruck him 3 rounds to none, and he lost the fight. I'm not saying that it's fixed. That's not what I'm implying. I'm implying that the way the computer stats are giving it...
What was the number of significant strikes?
I don't know.
Okay, because I think I remember, I remember them talking about it. It wasn't a bunch of strikes. It might have been like...
No,
it was a super low number.
It was a low number, small difference, but because
but
they were not...
Compared to what Ankalaev was doing in total... Those significant strikes that were measured and counted were not enough.
Right. But that's my point. Do they?
So he got 1 F.
That's my point.
Out of 5 different grades, he got straight A's and an F.
Right.
Where the other dude got all F's and then 1 A. Kinda.
Yeah.
To be simplistic about it. That's what it seems like to me.
Correct. Also, how do they score what does the computer take into consideration when scoring significant strikes? Because when Rakic does that kick, that head kick, right? Fucking, he's tall, he's strong. It reminds me of Mirko Krokop. And except he's not southpaw. And when he kicks with that leg, and Ankalaev was blocking all of them, that must have been like damaging his arms.
Yeah.
Do they count that as a significant strike? Because it does cause damage to the arms. And I gotta give it. I gotta tell you, over time, your arms get beat up, and you start dropping your arms, and that's Ankalaev's left arm, which was the primary damage.
I would imagine it does get scored as a significant strike.
Right,
it's just the dude blocking. You're lucky you're doing that because if you didn't do that, you just get knocked out.
So he got a bunch of those, and maybe that's what they're counting too. You know, maybe I don't know. So that's you know. But that was a good like example of how you see the fight. And I also thought Ankalaev won. I didn't think.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean,
everybody
we all
did.
thought that, and it's just not just the judges, right? So it's not like it's fixed or anything. I'm just implying that the computer stats are not there to be seen. This is not like in baseball where you watch the umpire make a mistake on a strike ball call, you know, because the ball went a little bit outside the window, which he doesn't see, but we do.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because very often,
Right.
very often, you see something else in baseball. We see the window. It's a clear strike. Umpire calls it a strike. And when I say clear, I mean in the corner of the window. But to us, it's clear because it's inside the window. Umpire calls it strike, and the batter goes like, "Really?" Well,
That's his job.
and we all go. Well, no, they usually don't. But and we all go like, "Yeah, motherfucker, really?" We all saw it. But so it goes the other way. But this is not a clear cut thing, you know, because we don't have that kind of window to see,
Right.
that little window to look at when we watch MMA.
And I think just with a baseball umpire, there's a tiny bit of subjectivity that's there too.
Well, the umpire has seen. He can tell you.
He's a pro.
He can probably tell you.
I mean, they make mistakes,
just as
but
much
not,
as the catcher.
not a lot.
He has seen probably as many pitches as the catcher, you know, because the catcher sees all the pitches throughout the match, you know. The batters, they don't see all the pitches. They see when they're at bat, right?
Right.
The catcher sees all the pitches. I mean, he knows his pitcher too, but he sees all the pitches. He knows from the posture of the pitcher, he knows what kind of pitch is coming, hopefully, right? The umpire can probably tell the same thing. So he's seen thousands and tens of thousands of pitches in his career.
Has a way better eye than
than
the audience,
than a
spectators.
biased audience.
Right, right.
You know? Fans, right? So that's the same situation. You know, these judges.
I think it's a little bit different with
MMA.
MMA. Yeah, but there seems to be, and I don't know if this is my own bias. I've been watching MMA for a long time, but it seems in the past couple of years, like 3 or 4, maybe even less, there has been an abundance of shady judging. I don't remember 10 years ago. I don't remember any point. There's always been bad calls that happen throughout the MMA season. But it just seems like it's happening in an abundance now to where the announcers talk about it openly, which is almost like, I don't know even know how appropriate that is.
Well, it is appropriate because the announcers can make a bad call on an NFL game. They can announce a bad call on a baseball match. They don't have to be, you know, they can say, "Oh, that's a bad call," but they can also say, again, we have the luxury of seeing the replay in slow motion. The ref has to make a call right away. But in MMA, the ref has time to make up his mind because the judge, you're watching the round and you're making notes, whether they're mental or written notes.
Right.
And then you look at it, and then you're during the 1 minute break, you're not drinking water or thing. You're gathering your thoughts, and you're kind of, at least that's what I would be doing as a judge. I would be like trying to replay the whole thing and what stuck with me the most and all that stuff, you know. And as an experienced judge, this will come easier and easier as the more experienced you are.
I wonder if they do that. Because
probably
now
do.
what I'm thinking is...
Because what else would you be doing?
It's what I'm
As a
guessing,
professional.
and I'm talking out of my ass right now. What I imagine they do is they're watching a fight round 1. They've got a piece of paper that has round 1 on it. They're like put their scores down, and then that gets turned in. Round 2 comes. Like I don't see them at the end of the fight going, "Okay, I'm gonna
they
give
have
that
it on the
first
same
round."
sheet of paper. Have you seen scorecards? They have them on the same sheet of paper. I think they're like, look.
I've seen a computer graphic.
No. Scorecard, like sample UFC.
And also, they pick these fools from boxing judges.
Some of them, yes.
Since the beginning.
Of course, there's.
And that's weird.
So there's a bias, obviously, right? They have that. Look, there it is. So they actually, this is the template of it. So they actually score.
So what? They're sharing.
They're doing it every look.
So there's a piece of paper that looks like this.
Well, they probably use, they don't use
I'm
a
just
piece
saying,
of paper.
is one-
Yes, it's on a paper, probably, but they
I'm
use
just wondering, do
use
they
it like this.
aggregate it?
Yeah, they have it just like this, and then at the end they put it together and they do 2-to-1 to this guy, you know. So what they do is that's the first ref, second ref, third ref, right? And or is it first round? Let me see. Total round, point deduction, round score, point deduction, round score. So this is for the red corner, red corner, blue round. Oh, this is for each referee.
Right.
So each referee has one of those. So, oh yeah, white judge, blue judge, pink judge, whatever, you know. So each referee has one of those, and this is the final template. But each referee has that, and they don't.
Each referee has
Each
one
referee
of
has
these.
one of these, yes, and they don't submit it until the end.
Right.
At the end, they submit the card, and then
Also,
somebody
man,
does
it's
the
like,
tally.
at the end of the 5th round, I can't imagine in that little bit of time going, okay, in the first round, yeah, that's right. I'm going to change the score. Do you know what I'm
No,
saying?
they don't. That's what I'm saying. So what they do
So
is
at the end of the first round,
at the end of the first round, between rounds, they decide, you know, who took the round, and that's why that's why sometimes it's subjective, because what I think that they're not biased
they're about
towards.
to get AI in the next 10 years.
It makes sense and it doesn't. You can get AI now, but how correct
Well, you need
is
to
it?
teach it.
You need to, well,
Because this isn't language.
It's
I mean,
not
they can teach a
that-
car to drive. You should be able to.
that's the thing.
I'm talking out of my ass. That might, I don't know how
you
hard
don't
that
teach
is.
AI. You give it sample size, and AI teaches itself.
Well,
By
right.
the way, I'm gonna recommend. Speaking of which, I'm gonna recommend it to you. But pay attention. This is good. There's a relatively new documentary on Netflix. As of the time of recording this video, it's new. On
Did he?
Bill Gates. Yeah, around the same time. Bill Gates. And the first episode of it is on AI and how he got involved with AI, because Microsoft was the one who started the ChatGPT OpenAI. They didn't start it, I'm sorry, but they were the ones who financed the whole thing, right? Because OpenAI was created by these 2 or 3 guys, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, first of all, AI has existed for decades now. There are computer programs that they let you play, let's say, backgammon. I used to play 20 years ago. I used to play backgammon on a computer program, and it would get better and better as we played more and more.
Really?
Yes, because it's called I think it's called neural learning or something like this, and it learns from. So the more games it plays, the more it learns. It's not like chess. Chess is something else. Chess
Because
is,
I've played computer chess. That's
Okay,
how I learned how to play
but
chess.
chess
And I'm
is-
like, the thing was always smarter than me.
You know why?
But you could up the challenge levels.
Yes, the chess has. You can make a perfect calculation on how many moves, you know, it can calculate. Backgammon has random generated dice. There are 2 dice that you throw, and what comes out of those dice is a random generated number. The computer,
Which is like
has
impossible to do pretty much.
Right. So the computer has to learn to actually play moves according to that number.
Instead
Right?
of
Instead of calculating so many moves ahead and all that. That's the power of chess, you know.
Right.
The computer program of chess and the best chess players. They can calculate moves ahead. They can see it in their head. The player specifically, not the computer, obviously. But the computer program does the same thing. But it can be pre-programmed. So I remember reading about those programs, specifically about backgammon. They learn from sample size. The bigger the sample size, the more they learn. So AI learns the same way. In fact, in the documentary, they say we don't quite know how. That's the freaky part. We don't quite know how AI learns. We don't tell it to learn. It learns on sample, you know. So that's why if you ever try, again, if you're watching this 10 years from now, things probably will have changed by
different.
then. Yes. But as of the time of recording of this video, if you try to generate a picture AI picture generated right now is much better than it was 6 months ago.
It's crazy now.
Right, it's crazy now.
But they can't do fingers.
They can do fingers. They
Fingers.
can do letters. It's funny because
That's how I reckon. When I look straight for the
you
hands, and if you
tell
see
the-
some like
yeah.
demons,
You tell the fucking thing, write choke a bloke, and it writes like you gotta give it like 50 tries just to put the it's very random. It could do it on the
Yeah.
third try. It could do it like may not do it on 100.
I read someone explained why, and it made total sense. It's like
What
all
have
the
you read?
pictures of hands
Uh-huh,
that it
uh-huh,
sees.
uh-huh.
It's there's no specific structure
Right.
for specific things that it can figure out.
It can't figure it out. That's the whole thing.
So you'll see
For
like
example,
long fingers,
yeah,
like
long
they're
fingers,
just,
weird fingers.
It's just weird.
Especially if you've seen Venom in the movie.
Right. My
By the way,
roommate
I
was
just
watching
saw
that.
I just saw the third
My
one.
buddy was watching
I just
that.
saw the third one. But if you're where was he watching it right now?
A couple days ago
Oh, where?
on Netflix, I want to say.
It's not on Netflix.
He has all the stuff.
I just saw it on YouTube. Somebody uploaded it.
Oh, well, maybe I'm talking about an older one.
Oh no, probably the older one. Yeah. But anyway, the third one is good. Not as good
I've
as
never
the
seen
older
any of
ones.
those.
Not as good as the older ones. But it's still okay. Listen, so if you see that the documentary I'm talking about, they show if you ever go to Google Images and you type in something and you see like a bunch of images on the front page. But if you open all pages simultaneously, like all hundreds of pages of the same, like on Google Images on one specific, let's say butterfly, you type in butterfly and go to images, and you're gonna see like 100 images on the first page. There will be probably another 100 on the second page, and then there's hundreds of pages, maybe thousands, I don't know. So if you open all these pages together and you put them on a humongous screen with all those pictures, AI scans all the pictures, and butterflies, with the exception of the colors, they pretty much look all the same. So AI will, in other words, they're not different shapes and forms, right? AI will just draw a butterfly and then put whatever colors it sees fit. Maybe whatever the most dominant colors are among the pictures, the most common colors in the pictures. It'll just make something up, right? But you can also tell it, make it a blue butterfly,
Right.
and it'll do. But it'll know that the shape of the butterfly is such and such.
Right.
If you tell it to draw hands, it'll scan all the pictures from Google Images of hands,
And
it probably goes to Yahoo Images and all the
Right.
fucking other, Bing and all that stuff, and it all looks weird if you think about it. Because
there's no single,
to us it makes sense. We look at hands and it makes sense.
but hands are in so many different positions in pictures,
Correct.
and the computer doesn't
Correct.
know.
Right. So that's what I'm
It's like
saying.
utility.
That's why we're making fun of AI at this point. But AI is. We don't, like we were talking about judges. UFC judges. Of course, you can do it now. It won't be perfect, but you can do it now. You just have to. You let
can do it. I don't
let
trust
AI.
it. I don't
You just have
trust
to
it.
let AI watch all MMA fights it can see with this rule set specifically, right? And then you will definitely probably get some result. But I think that it will be just not as the subjectiveness of the judging is what makes it interesting, because otherwise we can just look at stats, and still not get it right. I think that's why you have 3 judges, and they see things differently sometimes, more or less the same, more or less always. But
It's just some of the stuff that you're measuring the fight by cannot be quantized,
right,
like ring generalship, or
yes,
I
yeah.
mean, you would have a hard time configuring figures to measure it, to put it into zeros and ones, so a computer can be like, okay, I see that.
Yeah.
Because just backing up wouldn't count. It would
It
just
doesn't
be,
count. Yeah,
It would be
it
tough
doesn't.
to do that.
It doesn't. The other thing is that I see as what was I gonna say, the subjective. When it comes to, like, to me the weirdest judging is when I see, and that happened not too long ago. Some fight, I can't remember who it was, but one judge. So it's a split decision. You know, somebody
That
wins.
just happened.
Somebody
I know
wins
where you're
by
going.
split decisions happen all the time.
Yeah.
But somebody wins a split decision.
But one guy gets one round crazy and the other guy gets the other round.
Not one round, the whole fight. One of the judges gives it
That just happened.
30-27 for one fighter in a split decision. How can you give 3 rounds to one guy and your colleague who watches the same fight but from the other corner sees it for the other fighter? Whether it's not necessarily 30-27, he can see it 29-28
That
for
far
the other
away
fighter.
is a problem.
Big discrepancy. Now
That's
you're
a
thinking,
problem.
Yeah, and now you're thinking,
Somebody was sleeping. Somebody.
I'm not implying corruption. I'm not implying that.
I wouldn't say corruption
no,
either, but somebody's not doing their job.
Incompetence.
Right.
Yeah, incompetence or negligence, whatever you want to call it, on part of that judge. And usually it's the judge that gave it 30-27.
And when it's that drastic, that's when something should be. Something should be done about something like that. That's crazy.
They know those things.
That's crazy.
The problem is that again,
It's a commission.
Why the UFC commentators are criticizing judges openly
Well,
sometimes?
they don't have any
Because,
power over them.
well, the judges are employed by the commission.
Right.
They're not. They get paid by the UFC for as contractors, if you will. But they're
Because
appointed.
the UFC will take
Well, you want
those
them to be
commission
neutral.
dues and overseas sometimes.
You want them to be neutral. Judges have to be neutral, right? So they can't be working for the company that's paying the fighters.
Now, I thought,
They are getting paid by the UFC for services rendered,
right.
but they're not.
I thought
working.
refs were like that, but I just found out.
Refs,
I
yeah.
just found out that the UFC can fire a ref.
Oh, because
that
of that
just
guy
happened.
that was.
That just
So
happened.
if you don't know what
think
we're
about
talking
how
about-
long they talked about Yamasaki, Steve Mazzagatti, for multiple, however long fights. They were like, this dude sucks, this dude, da, 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 but they couldn't do anything about it. Something ended up happening.
Yeah.
This dude messed up one time.
But this dude also was very. Maybe there's.
He was a regional guy, I
He
think.
was the regional guy, and he was also.
But the news said
New-
that the UFC fired him. They said that night. I heard that.
Yeah, well.
And I was like, whoa.
He did amazing.
That was amazing what he did.
Amazing in a
In a bad way.
In a bad way. The fighters were fighting, and one of the fighters was pushing the other one to the wall at all times, like you should be if you want to dominate, right? You want to be pushing the other guy to the wall. You want to cut him off. You want to clinch him. Then you want to take him down. Whatever you're gonna do, right? Maybe both of you don't know what to do, right? The bottom line is one fighter was showing dominance over the other one, but pushing him to the wall. Of course, when this happens, the guys that are full on Modelos in the crowd up there start booing. And as soon as those motherfuckers started booing, as soon as the boos start, the ref goes in, he restarts him in the middle.
And that happened. That might have happened like the first time, but then
it kept happening.
Every single time the dude's
and the
back
guy-
hit, the dude
and-
would
and-
stop it. It
and
happened
the-
like
and
4 or
the guy
5
was
times.
Like, the guy that's pushing the other guy to the wall was like,
It's like, what are you doing?
what am I supposed to do?
Joe Rogan was going,
his-
what is he doing? What are you doing?
His whole game plan went to the trash because.
And I think did he lose?
I can't remember. If
I
he
can't
lost or not.
remember.
I can't remember.
It was just a poor
really
fight.
irrelevant because even if he had won, it would have been like, how? I mean,
I want to say that he lost. Anyway, it was definitely distracting.
No,
I can't
it's
imagine
bad.
what it was for
It's
him.
bad because,
it was
yes.
super poor. I mean, he got fired.
it's
Poor
MMA.
guy.
It's MMA, and you're supposed to let them play MMA. You know, it's not.
I wonder what he was
Dude,
thinking. I'm like,
even in boxing, you put him on the ropes. You start, hitting him there and all that stuff. It's part of the game, It's part of the game to put the other guys back on the wall.
I mean, you can take him off if nothing's going on, and you've given him plenty of time to do something.
In boxing,
But
they don't
as
take
soon
them off.
as they touched-
they only take them off in boxing if they
Oh, I mean,
clinch.
like in MMA.
Right, but give you an example with boxing where there's no even grappling, right?
Well, they don't usually hang on the wall not for like long
Well,
periods of
not for
time.
long
Because the
periods of
dude needs to
time.
move, or he's going to
Yeah.
be in trouble.
Right. He needs to move, otherwise he'll be in trouble. So he clinches usually because he knows he's going to get separated, which is like the stalling call in wrestling. He knows he's going to get separated. But the thing in boxing is when you get separated, they don't put you both in the middle of the ring.
Right.
They separate you.
Right.
The fighter that was dominating the exchange steps back 2 steps and then
Right.
puts him right back in there. So that's
Right.
kind of I don't know if the rules allow that, or I mean obviously they do, but I read somewhere or I heard somewhere that in the past when that would happen, and they actually stopped doing it, when that would happen, when you would put somebody on the ropes and you punishing them and they clinch and the ref separates you, the ref actually sends you both to the middle, and they changed that rule because people were playing the game. Like they would play the system where they would clinch because they're in trouble. They would clinch, the ref separates, and then it's even kill in the middle again. So now the refs are going like, the rules are like, no. You already fucked up because your back is there,
Yeah.
We're not gonna let you get away with it just because you clinch, right?
Yeah, that's a horrible.
Yeah.
They need to fix that.
No, they did. I mean, apparently.
Yeah.
So now they can't go they don't go to the middle, but they give him a little room to breathe. But in wrestling, it's the same thing. In college wrestling, in freestyle, not so much because there's a lot of back exposure calls. But in folk style wrestling, they do a stall call, the stalling call when, like, for example, when we do jiu-jitsu and we do a front headlock. To give you an example, this is like the most common thing in wrestling. We do a front headlock, and you try to go behind, or you do, but then you can't go behind because the guy is like stopping you if he's good, right? Then you try and guillotine, maybe you try to do something else, but there's always something to be done. He tries to get up, you snap him back down. There's always something to be done. In collegiate wrestling, if you hang around too long and you don't go behind, there's nothing to be done. They just separate you, they stand you back up, which I think is way to game the system.
They'll call that a
stall call. It's
stalemate.
it's a stalemate. Sorry. Stalemate, not stall
which is
call.
a.
It's different
There's
from
a
stalling.
difference.
Yeah, because stalling is like considered in like a caution.
Right.
Right.
You get penalized for that.
That's caution.
Now
first caution, second caution.
people do play the game. There is a game to be had with stalemates. Guys get so good.
That's what I'm saying.
They'll just usually they'll like a lot of times they'll throw themselves. They'll grab the ankles.
Yeah. With
or
the funk and stuff like this.
with the funk especially.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think that it would be a lot more interesting if they let those go. But again, they're trying to make it so that it's more attractive on the feet and all that stuff.
Well, a stalemate is when there's no movement, and it's like a 69 position.
But why is there no movement?
Because there's nowhere to go.
Well, there is always somewhere to go.
If I let go, it's just like stalemate in chess.
But in chess it's not like that, because in chess there is nowhere to go, according to the rules.
Okay, in a chess stalemate, if I move my king, I can't move my king into a position where it will get taken.
Right.
So I can't open myself up.
So you can't open yourself up.
Right.
But
like in wrestling,
I see what you're saying. You can't open yourself up.
It's like two guys have something, and it's like, I'm not letting go, you let go. I'm not letting go.
Hey,
So the ref is like...
It works for jiu-jitsu.
No, it doesn't.
Well, no, it's not. It's ugly to see, but it does work for jiu-jitsu.
Well, guys will have to... Someone will usually...
That usually happens in the gi, when you watch a gi match. But yeah, I know it's I don't know. I think that is just a way to play the system a little bit, because
when you turn something into a sport, or you gamify it, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I was watching we'll talk about it more later, but the PGF, and Brandon McCatherine said something super interesting, because they have a lot of... the match is only 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So they got to go...
It's a tournament.
It's a tournament style. And it's grinding. Like, the guys, they have like 12 matches in a week. It's like 3 a day for 4 days, something like that.
Yeah.
But he was saying how if a dude is in a bad position, say you have my back, and you're trying to choke me, but I'm good, I'm doing this, the onus is on me to do something. And if I'm just...
Who? The guy defending?
Yes.
Wow.
To where if you have to do more than just survive. And
that's
Brandon
wrestling. That's in wrestling.
Well, okay, and in PGF, what Brandon McCatherine said was, he was like, we're trying to force you to do something, even if it's not jiu-jitsu smart. He was like, because what you're not doing jiu-jitsu. You're playing a game. Jiu-jitsu is the movement, but the game is to be won by this. So you have to. And when he said, I was like, I understand that.
That's interesting because I didn't know that. You asked me before we came in if I seen it. I told you I actually tried watching it.
It's kind of tournament, but it's teams.
Yes, I tried watching it, but what happened was it was a long show, and I didn't have the time to see it.
Yeah.
No, I had it. I could watch it. I just didn't have the time to see it, and I knew it was a tournament. And I'm like, all right. I watched a few matches. I think Andy Varela was there. I saw him.
That was last season, maybe.
No, it wasn't Andy Varela.
I don't think this is the 205 season.
Renato Canuto was the one who won it. I think.
They were both last season.
Oh, last season. Okay.
Last season was a great season.
Is that the one where Alex Wendling was?
She's doing it this season too. She does it. Okay, she was last season. The seasons are like the last season was like
3 months ago.
Right.
Yeah.
It's every couple of months.
Okay. Yeah, it is a season.
But it's like a week.
It's a season.
It's a week
summer
long.
Was 3 months ago.
Well,
it's 2 months ago.
the productions come out. I think when they shoot it, it's like a week long thing.
Yeah. It's a tournament style. It's actually pretty good if you think
it's
about it.
It's super interesting.
But speaking of that rule, in jiu-jitsu, if I get the mount, for example, you gave the back as an example, but if I take the mount and you do this,
right,
and the onus is actually on me to break you down. If I just hold you there, the stall is on me. If they call stall calls,
I get
it's
that.
on me.
In jiu-jitsu, yes.
Now, with that being said, in ADCC, Craig Jones was going against Kainan Duarte. And,
I saw that.
And
that's when they got all these stalling calls
on Kainan.
Right.
On Kainan, who was in mount.
Right.
And that's the most ridiculous thing to me, is that the guy who is in a dominant position has to actually continue dominating. Now that makes sense if you think about the fact that it's submission grappling and your goal is to submit. You can stall
from on top.
You can stall from on top, and that makes sense. But if I got to the mount, I got there somehow, not by stalling.
What was he doing when he was up there?
Well,
because I was more concerned. Like I remember, Craig Jones.
Craig from the bottom was doing the Ezekiel, right? He was playing around in a gold medal match.
Right.
But whatever, But the thing is,
we love that about Craig, though.
Yeah, that was his last performance too.
Yeah.
Like of significance. The thing is that 2022. Yeah, after they broke up from as a B team. Yeah. The thing to me is that I got to the mount. I scored points in the process. I did not stall to get there. Now, if I am up on points already, and I'm in the mount and I'm just holding your head, which was not the case with Kainan. It's just that Craig was trying that thing, and Kainan was trying to, didn't know what to do.
Right.
He knew what to do, but he couldn't really do anything because he would have to defend that, but he doesn't want to lose the position. Right? And they call him for stall. 11 stalls. And good for Kainan that he was up by 20 points, because otherwise he would have lost match on stalls. And to win a gold medal and all this, Craig was making fun of that after that he was trying to win the match by making Kainan stall. I guess Craig didn't know the rules. But in wrestling, the rule
real
is...
quick, like you said, he was trying. I think their angle is, if he got to mount, when you said he couldn't do anything, he was just trying to hold the position. I think that's what they're focused on. Because if I'm just trying to hold the position, because if I try too hard to go for a submission, he might get out. They want you to keep moving.
Well,
I know what you're saying, and I kind of probably am leaning more your way, but...
I think that you have to escape the mount, even if they're just trying to hold you.
I think Craig should be held under the same...
I think you have to escape the
mount. He should be trying to do something too.
Craig was trying. He was trying to do the Ezekiel, but that I'm talking about escaping the mount.
But he was trying to submit him from the bottom.
Yeah, well, I think that you should be trying to escape a bad position. Because when you try to escape a bad position is when you open yourself. And think of it this way. If you don't escape a bad position, you're being dominated. If you're not trying to escape, you're being dominated, right? And if I'm going to stay there and sit on top of you for 5 minutes and dominate you, the match goes to me, especially if I scored points in the process.
I get it.
Now, why would you want to be down 10 points? Because I passed your guard. I went to maybe neon belly or north-south, or maybe pass your guard, go to side control. then go to the mount, maybe take the back. I'm already 10 points up at that point. Maybe even took you down first. 10 points up at that point, right? Why would you want to stay safe and bottom mount when that's the whole thing, right? You got to open yourself up to escape, and that's...
Are we talking me or Craig? Because Craig was trying to submit him with the Ezekiel from the bottom.
Right.
And I'm saying, this is like a... you're
No,
going to
but
think
we're
this sounds
talking about
crazy,
Craig,
but think
but-
of Levi. He put himself in a bad position.
Levi was playing guard. He was in attacking position. That wasn't the same thing.
He was attacking from a guard position. Guard is a defensive position.
Guard is a defensive position, but it's also attacking position in terms of if you play close guard and you're not attacking, you are not... You could be defending in the beginning, defending yourself in the beginning. Let's say self-defense, or MMA. You get yourself, but then from there on you have to attack. Otherwise you're getting punched, right? So guard is called a guard for a reason,
right?
But it's also an attacking position from there, right? You have options to attack from guard, just probably as many as you have from the top.
You attack from guard for sure, and
Right.
also the guard usually makes it so if you're in my guard, open guard, half guard, you have limited attacks. You have to
from
get
top,
right.
yeah.
I'm forcing you to get out of my guard
Pass
or
my
past
guard
my guard,
and then attack. Yes, correct.
which is my big argument against Levi Jones-Larry, where you're putting yourself in a defensive position. So to me, that's like backing up. When we're starting from a neutral.
We agree on that.
Right.
Conceptually, it's backing up when we're starting from neutral position. Conceptually, there is no reason for you to call me to pass your guard when
We're starting
on the feet. Every round starts on the feet. You go to your butt and you start. That's why AIGA has the rule set where if the first half of the round, they're also playing 3 rounds. The first half of the round, the only points scored are takedowns. So in other words, you can't just pull guard. You get taken down. Because otherwise you're gonna get taken
matches.
down without any repercussions, and then you're playing guard, right?
What do you think about them?
I like it.
I like the Magic because they get high quality dudes, but it doesn't. It's not as
I like it.
the format to me isn't.
It's a team tournament, 3 5-minute rounds or 3 3-minute rounds, 3 5-minute rounds because it's halfway.
I watched this Russian against this little Brazilian.
They had a good one in Brazil recently, about 6 months ago. They had a good one in Brazil.
Are the teams like country?
Yeah, they're usually from the same country, I think.
Is it a Russian promotion?
Kazakhstan.
That's so weird.
Millions of dollars involved. These guys.
I can tell from
the Modolfo.
But I'm like, where is this?
The Modolfo, remember Modolfo team? That was Mo Jassim's team. He put together.
I didn't know that.
He put together Giancarlo Bodoni, Dante Leon, and I don't know who else. A few other guys. And he said they all said that this was like the best
really
organized tournament they've ever been to.
Wow.
And they're saying that in front of the guy that organizes ADCC. So you can imagine, how...
ADCC, it seems like from the matches AIGA that I saw compared to ADCC, I prefer ADCC matches.
Oh, there's a lot more tradition in it, so we kind of understand it more. We're more involved in it. We're more like, we have a spot in our hearts for it.
Even though it's different.
It's different, but it's also different format. It's everything is different about it. I like rounds. I personally like rounds. I think that rounds are fair play. I think that you got to win rounds. If you're gonna,
I can dig rounds just like CJI.
Yeah, same thing. Open scoring is great, but to the point of I meant to tell you to the point of the defensive player needs to move, otherwise they get penalized. In college wrestling, in folk style wrestling, in both high school and college, you have this thing called riding, right? Riding time, yes. So in freestyle, it doesn't exist. But the concept is such.
I like riding time.
Oh, I love it. I so much more prefer to watch folk style to freestyle.
100%.
Freestyle, there's
I think
some
everybody's
nice
like
things.
that.
No, not everybody's like that. There's some nice things about freestyle. The scrambles are kind of like weird in freestyle. They're better because they get you get exposure and stuff. But I hate the fact that you can suplex somebody and just throw them over, let them fly without any control on the takedown.
See, I think that's
and get points. It's
I think
sick.
that's sexy.
It's good to see. It's good to see the suplex itself. But once you suplex somebody, you should what they do is they'll grab you,
Yeah.
they'll throw you, and they let you go.
Yeah.
And they score 5 points for that.
Yeah.
You know, which is amazing.
It's
But they let
crazy.
you go. But they let you go.
Right.
Right. Now.
But just imagine, like, when wrestling was invented in the old days, me and you are going, and I can pick you up and throw you
No
and
doubt.
let go.
No doubt.
I'm the man.
You are, no doubt. But
And you're probably going to be hurt,
true.
or at least dazed.
True.
And if we're fighting
if
for
you get
real,
suplex on the ground,
Oh
yeah.
my
If you're fighting for real,
gosh.
yes, yes. But
that's never happened to me. I don't know what.
But riding is
It's so
to
much
me,
more. It's dominant.
like,
the control.
It's dominant. It's like, dude, you ever
You break people's hearts.
You ever been on the ground with a wrestler and you get ridden for like
It's the worst.
like a few minutes.
It's the
couple
worst.
Of minutes. Oh my God! It's like
It sucks.
you feel like, what is happening with me? And by the way, this is what's happening to Khabib's victims. You know,
Right.
That's actually Khabib's dad said that American style wrestling is way more suitable for MMA than freestyle wrestling, which is the rest of the world.
I would agree with.
Because of the writing game.
100%.
There is a clip on YouTube with his dad, rest in peace, who was talking about how Khabib beat Michael Johnson, how he was riding him with the wrist ride. That's when they
Right.
started calling the Dagestani...
The handcuffs?
Yeah, the Dagestani handcuff, but it's actually...
A wrist ride?
It's like all the wrestlers are like, oh my God, this is a wrist ride.
It's like some Americans are like, it's not a Russian, that's a 2-on-1.
Yeah, it's a 2-on-1. Yeah.
I call them Russians.
Yeah, I call it Russian 2-on-1. But so
Oh, you call it a Russian 2-on-1.
I call it Russian 2-on-1. Yeah. If you no,
Diplomatic.
because 2-on-1. Okay, so
I call any 2-on-1. This
That's
is a
a
Russian.
2-on-1.
This is a Russian. This is a
no,
Russian.
No, this is a Russian. Right
This
here.
is a Russian. This is a Russian.
This is not. This is not. This is a 2-on-1 with. This is an elbow 2-on-1. This is a 2-on-1, just regular 2-on-1, right? And this is the Russian right here where you
Really?
go. Yeah, this is the Russian tag. Yeah. So, but I mean, as far as I know, but in any case, I think all Russians are 2-on-1. Not all 2-on-1 are Russian.
I'll meet you in the middle with
Yeah,
that.
like all cognac is brandy, but not all brandy is cognac.
I can dig it.
Yeah, all champagne is sparkling wine, but not all sparkling wine is champagne. You know, the Russian is the champagne of the 2-on-1s. Anyway,
All Republicans are conservative, but not all conservatives are. Wait a minute.
yeah, I don't know. They don't know what the fuck they are anymore.
Yeah, it's different. It's different.
Yeah. Nowadays, people are not voting. Nowadays, people are voting.
It's the cult.
for,
It's the personality.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not even politics
That's the sad
anymore.
part, because we're not voting anymore for
No one cares about nothing except
what's represented by
Yeah.
the party that you're voting for. People are voting for a person now.
We'll see how that works out.
And it's usually,
We'll see how that works out.
man, I got to tell you, I was thinking on the way here that we were going to talk about it, but I
There's
was
nothing
thinking,
really to.
I was thinking on the way here that I would love to not have to say in a couple of years, motherfuckers, I told you this guy's insane.
Inside of my head, that's what I'm like. That's why I'm trying. I'm like,
I
we'll
would
see how it
love
works
to
out.
not say that,
I
because that
can't-
means we're all fucked.
Yeah.
Because it's not just
Yeah.
us, man. It's the whole world.
It's the whole world.
The foreign look. Trump's domestic policy.
Dude, with the
In the
tariffs.
we're talking about the first. I don't know now. We're talking about the first term. Trump's domestic policy was, with the exception of how COVID was handled in the beginning, Trump's domestic policy was like whatever. It was nothing spectacular. I know he did the tax cuts. If you're
He also could keep Muslims out of America.
If you're a middle class American or lower middle class American, or citizen of the country, living in the country, and you're paying taxes, if you think that these tax cuts have any meaning to you, you're fooling yourself.
They don't.
Those tax cuts have no meaning to you. The inflation happened during the time when those tax cuts were going on. And by the way, you're still complaining about your fucking taxes. Those tax cuts are still in power right now until 2025. You're just going to renew them, right? They benefit people who are rich, and that's okay, because that's traditionally what Republican Party does, right? But whatever, that's okay. But if you're going to tell me that this is one good thing he's done, or one of the good things he's done domestically, it's what every Republican president has done, and it's not. It's really nothing to do with you or me. But in terms of foreign policy, I think he was horrible, and I just hope that he will not be as bad. Now we're talking about raising tariffs with China. Not only that's going to make things more expensive.
Like 60% or some foolishness?
I don't think that's going to happen. But not only things are going to get more expensive, even domestic production, even if it goes up, they're still going to be more expensive than manufactured in China. You can say about creating jobs and all that stuff. Somebody has to work those fucking jobs. We don't have shortage of jobs right now. We don't have unemployment, high unemployment. So creating jobs right now is like... at this time, right now, creating jobs is like spilling water under the bridge.
It's not that big of a deal because everyone's pretty much working.
Correct. So ever since COVID, people didn't want to go back to work. Are you kidding me? There was like shortage of workers, not shortage of jobs. So what happened the last time around was with those tariffs, there was a trade war between China. It's not a war, but it's a trade war between China and the United States. And,
that hurts the people.
That hurts the consumer. That hurts the whole world, really, because, the dollar was...
America sneezes, the rest of the world catches cold.
Yeah, that's it. And the rest of the world catches cold like a year later or 6 months later,
right.
By the way. So... But I don't think that the foreign policies were really something to be proud of. Those meetings with North Korea, those things with Iran, those things with the Paris Agreement. This was a disaster after disaster. The fact that he was admiring people like Putin. And
Erdogan.
The Erdogan, just today, I saw that Erdogan, many world leaders congratulated him and all that stuff. Erdogan was the one who said, congratulations to my dear friend at the real Donald Trump. I'm very happy that you're back. Netanyahu also, like, as if Netanyahu didn't get enough help from Biden. Biden keeping fucking quiet. And it's like, oh my God.
And he just fired his... main dude to consolidate power.
And you know what's hilarious is I read that a lot of Muslim Americans
voted for him. I heard the same thing. I'm like, didn't they do a ban 8 years ago?
No, forget that. That was 8 years ago. Memories are
I don't
short.
forget, and I'm not even Muslim.
Yeah, but that's 8 years ago or whatever. I'm talking about something else.
Well, they're mad
because of the Biden administration not doing enough
about Gaza.
Now, Netanyahu is happy that Trump won.
Are you
kidding
put the
me?
embassy
what
in,
do you think is going to happen?
He took the embassy and put the embassy when he was there. He put the embassy in Jerusalem or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you realize that.
That's not even my dog.
If anything, it's only going to get worse for Palestine. Trump is. He said that he was going to support Israel with military aid, but no other aid or something like this. Which
that's what's already going on.
Pretty much what's happening right now. So there's like, it's a
Meanwhile,
big mess.
babies are getting blown up
It's-
daily.
Yeah, it's
It's crazy. It's scary.
pretty crazy. And Netanyahu just fired his.
That's what I'm saying. To consolidate power. His
Yes,
like
because the guy was quite against him. He was not seeing eye to eye with him, and
because as soon as this war's over, Netanyahu's got to go to court.
ooh,
So he's like, let's keep the good times rolling.
He and Trump had one thing in common, I'll
Right,
tell you.
and Trump's going to
He's-
pardon all his own
he
shit.
He still has to get sentenced. You know that in November,
No,
but it doesn't matter.
that shit doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
He's clean, dude.
Yeah.
Teflon.
yeah, including the guys that
Taking a
were
poop
involved
on
in January 6th.
Oh, I can't. I have to see. There's so
Those
much shit. I
motherfuckers
keep
are going-
forgetting.
getting out of prison, too.
Everyone's getting out. Dude.
Putin is like rubbing his fucking fingers because
Oh my
what's gonna happen
gosh.
is Putin just got himself a get out of jail free whatever
Yeah.
the name is. Putin is in a war that he doesn't want to fight anymore, and he
Nope.
doesn't know how to get out of it without being a loser.
Yep.
And now
He just got
there's
hooked
going to be a
up.
negotiation in which he's going to
To win.
win
He's gonna
some
get
land.
stuff.
He's going to get stuff.
Because Ukraine's on any position.
Ukraine is not in a position
To-
anymore. He's going to get stuff. Ukraine is going to lose stuff. The war is going to end. And I read that a lot of Ukrainians are supporting Donald Trump. And I don't understand what is this all about. But
Look, we'll see what happens. Because
I would love to be wrong about all of this.
Me too,
I'm
brother.
sincere.
Me too.
I am not a Trump fan at all. Like,
But I don't
maybe
want people getting blown up and crazy stuff happening to people. And that's what it.
Not only that, the economy is not going to be thriving under Trump, and it wasn't before. And we're talking about before COVID. I'm not talking about what COVID did. COVID was a special case. We're talking about before COVID.
Bitcoin's all-time high, though.
Bitcoin is
Yesterday.
an all-time high. I was thinking about selling some shit.
I'm not selling any of my
I'm not-
Bitcoin,
I'm
but
not
I have some
selling-
other stuff that
I consolidated everything into Bitcoin.
I consolidated most of my stuff
Yeah.
into Bitcoin, but I have some other stuff that not
I have
a whole
Ethereum,
lot.
but not too much. Oh, no, I sold that. But I know I put all the crypto into Bitcoin when it was in the 50s.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it, I'm not.
I looked at my thing today. From what I paid, the amount of cash that I paid into Bitcoin to where I'm at now, I made like 33 grand from when it jumped
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Well, it's.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna sell it.
The
Though.
only
I'm gonna
reason
wait.
I'm keeping Bitcoin is because it has a cap on the supply.
Oh yeah.
So that's the
the-
only reason
yeah.
why I'm keeping it, because I think that people treat it like a limited supply of gold, essentially.
Yep.
But going up, going down, I'm not selling it. That's it. So, but
I don't even look at it like I
today.
used to.
I saw it was at 73. I'm like,
I wanted to see
shit.
what after the.
By the way, I got locked out. Good thing probably. I got locked out of my trading account,
Really? Who do you trade with?
Coinbase.
Really?
Yeah, I got.
I'm at crypto.com.
Okay, so I didn't get locked out of it because I did something wrong. I had to enter my password. I'm logged in all the time, right?
Me too.
So I had to.
Well, I use my finger.
I got logged out, not locked out. I got logged out, and when I went to enter my password, it asked me for authentication.
Yeah.
Through my authentication app. Now
Do you have Google authentication?
Now I do, but I didn't. So I'm like, what the fuck? How do I do this?
I
So
had to
now
figure that
upload,
out.
I had to upload my ID again and all that stuff so they can verify. So now I got to wait another 24 hours
Okay.
to check again what to do and all that stuff.
Coinbase, though, man, they're
They're big.
They're big.
They're big.
my little crypto.com, because that's one of the other smaller
Is that
ones
what
that I
Crypto
have.
Arena is named after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've got, I mean, they're like at 9 cents now. Their all-time high was like at 70 some cents. If they get to $1, I'm paid. But we're still a long way from that. But Coinbase, they're like in the hundreds of dollars for their little coin, whatever they're.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw it and I was like, when I saw it's at 73 or something like this, 75, whatever.
I think it's like at 75 now.
Yeah, I was like, shit, this thing went up.
The
I
all-time
should
high was like
probably-
76.4. That happened like
was
midday
it?
yesterday.
I thought it hit an all. Oh, yeah,
76.4
yesterday.
yesterday, yeah.
So it went to an
It's like
all-time
at 75
high, and I was
now.
thinking about it, And I was like, you know what, just get out of it. But then I'm like,
How much do you have?
it's like 15G or something like this. No. I mean, now it's more, obviously.
Well, no, when I say how much do you have, how much, like, what percentage of Bitcoin?
Oh, my whole crypto is in Bitcoin.
Like, I've got like 1.07
of my savings?
Bitcoin.
Of my savings?
No.
No.
Like, I've got 1.07 Bitcoin.
Oh, no, I don't have a whole coin.
Okay.
No, I have like a quarter, I think.
That's okay.
Or about a third of a coin or something. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's more like a 0.28 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No, that's substantial.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. You know, when it gets to a million, I'll be almost a millionaire.
See, I went hard for like.
So you got what?
10
1.25?
months.
You got like 1.25?
No, I've got like 1.07 or 1.08.
Oh yeah. So you got.
Yeah, I've got like I'm a whole coiner is what they call them.
Yeah.
But I went hard for like almost a year. Every paycheck I was like putting like a bunch in. Whereas I don't put any. I don't. They call it DCA, dollar cost. I don't put any in anymore.
Yeah, you don't want to put money now. I mean,
no.
I
need cash.
This thing is gonna go down. This thing is gonna go down in a week. It's gonna be back to 60.
I don't think so.
Well,
I think it's on the way up.
not 60 probably, not 60, but around 62, 63. It's gonna
We'll
go back
see.
down.
We'll see. I'm gonna take that back. We'll see. I think I'm hoping because it broke an all-time high that it'll find support there.
I think that.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't break support.
It won't go down the drain, but it'll.
I mean, because it's known for that.
But it'll come down to
I won't be mad,
normal,
but I'd be pissed if it like went to 40. I'd be like, damn.
But it'll come back down to pre-election numbers, which was around 60.
We'll see.
63.
We'll see. Because I think the chaos, like I don't know what's going to happen, that spirit makes Bitcoin move. Also, it makes that type of uncertainty will make gold move too. Like I'm sure the dollar's down right now.
The dollar doesn't have to go down if the gold goes up. I think it's
right now. They have a relationship like that, but it's not. It's not like a 1-to-1.
Yeah, it's not.
I just think the dollar's gone down because
that bad anymore.
Because of what's just happened. I think Bitcoin has gone up because of what just happened.
Yeah, it's.
And I'm like, if I'm trying to get something good out of it all.
Right. So I think. Don't take my word for it. But I'm locked out of my account right now.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that it'll come down to the 60s, and I'm thinking that if I sell now and buy it back a week from now, I'm actually gonna.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, if it keeps going up, I'm not buying it back, obviously.
Yeah, well then you've done lost it though.
I've just.
And
lost
what about 3 years from now when it's like at 150,000?
Unrealized gains. I still.
Not after you've sold it.
Yeah, it's unrealized gains anymore because I haven't lost money.
It's realized losses.
No, it's not. It's not.
See, my Bitcoin, I've never sold any of my
stuff. It's realized losses if you buy it at 70 and you sell it at 60. That's a realized loss.
That's a realized loss, right?
Correct. If you buy it at 60 and you sell it at 70 and it goes up to 100, those 30 grand
doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying you still realize.
But I'm not going to buy it anymore.
You still liquidated.
Yeah, I liquidated it, but I'm not going to buy it if it goes up.
You're going to have to pay taxes on it.
Nah, not if you invest it in something else. I think if you buy stock or something. I don't know. I'm not too sure about it. I know that's
it's like capital gains type stuff.
Capital gains things, yes. Don't worry. Don't worry. Camel didn't win, so no more capital gains. I don't have a problem anymore with my $1 million capital gains. People were crazy, bro.
I talked to I got this accountant. This dude. I've never met him.
I have this accountant for this one.
All right. He told me he was talking about politics, and he was like, "I don't care what you think about politics or who you like." Donald Trump winning, or I think specifically he was like Republicans, but he was talking about Donald Trump. He was like, him in the White House is going to be good for your money. He did say that. And I was like, really? Him saying that, I can't argue with him because he's way more knowledgeable about stuff than me. And I was just like, So that's
Traditionally, Republicans
because
have
there's less regulation. Pretty much is what he was saying.
Correct.
And at this point, I'm just trying to find
it's not only about your money, because your money can in the long run can devaluate,
Yeah, especially when you leave it underneath your mattress.
Right.
Which is why I'm trying not to do that.
The money has devaluated in the past couple of years. People will make an argument because of inflation. But let me tell you something that everybody's crying about inflation right now.
Inflation has been, after COVID, inflation got bad.
Right, but right now it's at 2%. Right now it's nothing. It's less than 2%. Look at the numbers. And that's what's...
And look, let me tell you, the way they measure, is that from the CPI or the PPI? It's like the way they measure it.
Inflation...
Because whatever number they give you, I don't even trust that.
Look,
they try to keep it at 2%.
Yeah, it's
that's
2.4
the goal.
In September from a year earlier, down 2.5 in August.
But you got to think it's been so high, and also I don't trust that number. If they say it's 2, it's probably 4.5.
No, you know what the CPI report? You know what the problem is? The problem is that the prices had already gone up. So they didn't come down. The prices
haven't come down, right?
That's it. The prices just haven't come up.
The inflation rate has come down,
so
but nothing else has.
Let's say a gallon of milk 2 years ago was $3, and now a gallon of milk is $5.
Right.
Okay, that's because of inflation that was going on a year ago.
Right.
Since then, the inflation has been contained, and it's been going very normal, right? So no more inflation, let's say. But the milk stayed at $4.50 or $5.
Right.
What did I say? As opposed to going back down.
Right.
So we see the gas prices go up to $5, then they go down to $4.50.
That's different.
That's a little different from
food,
consumer prices.
Right. That's not happening with food.
Yeah. So
that's not happening with houses.
It does happen actually. Houses devaluate in a crisis.
I'm saying
they will devaluate.
For me trying to buy a house.
Oh yeah. But interest rates do go up and down depending on inflation. Yes.
Thank goodness that's one thing that's positive that's happening is the interest rates. It went down 0.5% the last time, a month ago, a month and a half ago, and they're forecasting it to go down 0.25%. So I'm hoping they do it another half.
If you say that you don't trust inflation numbers, I'll tell you this: when inflation is high, the interest rates go up.
Right.
If the interest rates went down, that means you can trust those numbers. The inflation is gone down. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. I struggle to try to explain it, but when I listen to the people that I listen to, these market report, when they get into it, that 2%, that is good, and that's where they like to keep it.
Right.
But what they call 2%, I think is something. Okay, it is 2%, but what they pick to derive that number is custom.
The criteria.
They're controlling the equation to get to that.
Right. The criteria
they'll get it to that. Kind of like when Trump was like, "Can you get me to 14,000 votes?"
Right. Find me 14,000 votes
on a phone. We all learned in Pulp Fiction. Are you calling from a cell phone? Wrong number.
Was it mobile? Are you calling me from a mobile? Who is this?
Prank caller.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. Bro,
I just need 14,000. He's talking to a governor of a state.
I know. Find me 14,000.
It sounds like some mafia shit. I'm like, that is one of 1,000 examples where this fucker is amazing. No one gives a fuck.
No one gives a fuck. That's my problem.
Crazy.
That is my problem. And you know what? People are like, I mean, he's funny, He's doing. He does what he promises. No, he doesn't. That's funny. The thing.
Like, no, that's not funny. People are dying.
People are struggling. And he doesn't do what he promises. Don't tell me he does what he promises. He does whatever the fuck he wants. That's the problem.
How much did Mexico pitch in on the wall? What wall? Oh, that's right.
So let me get something straight here. There's like millions of immigrants, which is a great knock on the Democrats for the past 4 years, right? The southern border is chaos, right? No doubt, no doubt. The southern border is chaos, but there was supposed to be a wall built there like 8 years ago. What the fuck?
For free.
Mexico was supposed to pay for it. Instead, the caravans came through.
It's wide open.
It's wide open, right? So, what's happening now? Whose fault is it? I'm kidding, but still, there was supposed to be a fucking wall over there.
This is the last thing. This is something funny. It's not even really funny, but Donald Trump Dana White did a speech.
I saw.
Okay. This must have been yesterday, whenever it was. Donald Trump was like, "We want to get all the immigrants, all the migrants, all the tough migrants, they're all tough, they're murderers.
The bad hombres.
We want to get them, and then we get all the best UFC fighters, and then put them against each other." And he was like, and the migrants are probably going to win because there's some bad guys. And I'm like, what is he talking about? He's like, he said this. I'm like, you want to put the migrants against the UFC fighters? Now, was he joking? I hope so.
Who is this, Dana White?
This is Donald Trump
yeah.
saying this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't understand. Obviously, he's probably joking.
Right.
But is that appropriate?
I'm going to say something.
I'm not going to say I was offended, but I'm just like, why are you talking about something like this?
Look, I'm going to throw something out right now in the air, and again, I hope I'm wrong, because the future of the whole world depends on this. And not just the near future, he has the Senate, Congress,
all that.
Supreme Court, all that shit, right? So it's not just that, and he has no more opposition in the Senate either, because these Republicans that are opposed him are not there anymore,
right.
Most of them. So, but I'll tell you this: he does not. What he sounds like now is what Joe Biden sounded 3 years ago, when he was starting to lose it, right? I think that Trump in a couple of years is going to sound very much like Joe Biden sounded towards the end. I hope that I'm wrong, but I'm going to be laughing so hard at all these people that were making fun of an old man who happened to be a president,
right.
And here's my problem with the difference between Biden being like that and Trump being like that. Trump is known for not taking anyone's advice. He's known for his hard-nosed policies and stuff like this, which means that he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants, and he's not gonna. He's gonna make some weird decisions at some point,
and people are gonna go along with it.
And people are gonna go along with it, or people are gonna be like, "Well, he's getting old, ha ha ha."
How do you stop him at that point?
Yeah,
like Aaron Hernandez. Once you get him going,
that's the thing. How do you stop him? Who's gonna stop him, right? So that is the most terrifying part of everything, because if he's still sane and he makes a bad decision, it might be reversible depending on what it is. It might be reparable. But if he's insane and he makes a bad decision and he insists on it, then there isn't much you can do. And when I say insane, I totally mean Joe Biden insane.
Right. We'll see.
So we'll see what happens. I hope I'm wrong again, because that's not nice. The last thing I'm going to say before we cut out is, which I didn't mention, the thing about, and it bothers me, I didn't finish that, is in wrestling, in folk style wrestling, they call a stall on the guy that's being on the bottom of the riding. So if I'm riding you and I'm trying to turn you and all that stuff, and you're staying there like
there's nothing else for me to do.
Because you're not giving me you're not trying to escape the position,
right.
And by doing so, give me the opportunity to attack,
right.
And to finish the pin or the turn. So you're supposed to be escaping, in other
right.
words. So I love that rule about jiu-jitsu. I think that playing safe and all that stuff is good if you're my age and your age,
right.
against some youngster. But
on the PGF,
we're not competing against 20-year-olds.
Right.
We're not competing at all, for that matter. So if you're 20-year-old and going against another 20-year-old, you should be trying to escape and
right.
fuck it,
100%.
Yeah. So
100%.
So I like the rule. I think I support it. I think that it's good. If
we'll
punches are raining down on you,
week.
if there's punches involved, you're gonna be escaping. Look at UFC. You're not
100%.
there like
right.
So
Because you're gonna get smashed.
yeah. All right, man. Good conversation.
Good, brother.
We'll see you guys next time for episode I Lost Count.
Go on and subscribe. Hit that like. You know you love us.
Slap that notification bell that Albert was telling me. That's
Smash the notification bell.
Slap that notification bell.
So you can have us with you.
Don't forget my last video on Chocovlog I shot with him. I'm like, it was yesterday. I was like, he's like, no, you know what you gotta do? You gotta go. Okay, guys, you gotta like, subscribe, slap that notification button, so you can get all the videos as soon as they come out. And I'm like, wow, you said that really good. I mean, yeah, because you said that really good. Why don't you say that? And he's like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it. You want? So I'm like, all right. So I say, how do you go? He tells me again. I'm like, all right, guys, I'm gonna interrupt right here just to say, like halfway in the video.
Yeah.
You gotta please like and subscribe.
You should record him doing that and then do it for us every time.
Right. Slap that notification button because it's important. You know, we're trying to put this guy through college right now, or at least pay for the books. And he goes like,
You never know.
Like, I didn't tell you to say that, but okay.
Follow Chocobo Patron.
You know
Patreon.
Patreon. Yes. Follow, subscribe, and all that stuff, right?
All that.
Anyway, nice work. Thank you.